Hi, I'm Neil Hunt. I'm the digital lead for TV Connect, and I'm here at the OTT TV World Summit with Dan from Viacom. Dan, we just heard a very interesting talk about partnerships and OTT. They're obviously evolving. The market's changing. Can you tell me, firstly, how it's kind of affected your traditional partnerships?
Yeah, our traditional partnerships, in fact, have been harnessing OTT's benefits since around 2006. Around 2006, they started taking their linear channels offerings online and distributing over OTT, which let their customer base engage in a lot more portable viewing and on-demand viewing and time-shifted viewing. So for us, we've been part of that journey with our traditional partners as it's evolved on-demand, box sets, catch-up, now mobile, now temporary download. So really, our traditional partners have been great innovators in that space. Viacom's been a central partner to them because we produce a lot of our programming, own most of our programming, so we can more flexibly partner with those initiatives.
And then I guess there's the growth of the kind of pure play OTT providers. How's that changed the partnerships you make?
It's been really helpful for us because a lot of the pure play OTT providers have come in and targeted a different segment. Now we're predominantly a pay TV broadcaster. Pay TV packages have been for households with families generally. It's been a high price point service. OTT entrants have come in and have been able to offer smaller and cheaper packages that have targeted households who probably weren't traditionally pay TV households. So for us, it's grown the opportunity really for us.
So you mentioned windowing and the importance of doing that, especially when it comes to branding. Can you explain a little bit about how that works and how you see OTT playing into that?
Yes. So windowing, to explain it, is a program will premiere on a channel. And then it goes through certain windows. So for 7 or 30 days, it might be available on a catch-up service. After that, it might be available on an on-demand service. And there's more value to the more recent windows of that. Something that's just been broadcast a month ago is probably more popular and more watched than something that was broadcast 4 years ago. We tend to sort of look at different propositions, see who they're trying to focus their service at, and decide which of our windows makes better sense for that platform. For example, when Netflix launched, it was a film catalog service. It wasn't about recency. So we had a lot of deals with Netflix and Amazon Prime when it launched that were about catalog deals. Recency wasn't a requirement for them. So it's that sort of mix.
Okay, brilliant. And then I guess finally, you mentioned the importance of brand. Obviously, it used to be people would gather around to watch a program on a fixed channel at a set time, but we see the kind of growth of millennial audiences and youth audiences changing that. How was that affected kind of channel branding and branding in television programming?
Yeah, so for us, you're right, and our channels are geared at 16 to 34s, Comedy Central and MTV, that's their core demographic, and that's the demographic that has evolved its behaviour more rapidly than other TV watching demographics. So for us, it's been it's an area of focus for us. We're just finding that we just need to have more variety and different types of messaging to reach the fragmenting audience in that demographic. So for us, we feel we've got a good way of working with that. TV platforms, on the other hand, are a bit more restrained in how they evolve their interface. A lot of it's to do with technical limitations. So we're working very closely with them to make sure that the way they approach branding and the way they reflect branding reflects how we're sort of evolving that approach. And that's an ongoing conversation with the platforms.
Now you showed quite a complicated slide that looks at how you produce a campaign around programming now.
Yeah.
Can you talk through the changes in that and how it used to look and how it looks now?
Yes, I think there are some obvious additions to that mix now, like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, that weren't there in volume and importance some time ago. Perhaps there are other things that they're not new activities such as events and things, but they've become more important as audience sort of fragment out into things. Really, that mix of promotion is a reflection of the fact that you can't always reach the audience ahead of a program through the channel alone. There's a lot more competition for their attention. So it's always been there a little bit though. We've always done press, trade press, corp press. So it's just evolved to include new mediums, but also it's probably the blanket coverage has got wider because it needs to be wider now.
Brilliant. And then finally, thinking about the kind of how the market's evolving over the next 5 years, we've heard about niche programming, we've heard about the kind of generalists, we've heard about there's already 200 OTT players in the US, and that's only set to grow or maybe shrink a little.
Yeah.
How do you see the market in OTT evolving?
I would probably answer that by going back to one of the studies that we published yesterday, and one of its key findings was ease of use is still of paramount importance to an individual who's trying to watch content. So you obviously need to find the programming that is of most interest to them, but you need to make it in a very simple and easy and non-stressful viewing environment. So whilst I think it's great, and it really is great, and we're taking advantage of it, that OTT can allow for niche propositions and more customized services, the challenge will be how you can bring those together and integrate them into a manageable set of viewing circumstances. So we think someone like Netflix has done a great job of creating a very intuitive interface, but Netflix's service is quite simple. It's TV series and on demand. When you've got a big pay platform that's got a mix of services, cross genres, it's more complicated, and they're probably taking a little bit of time to evolve their platform. So I think it's great, a lot of choice, simplicity of use will be paramount.
Brilliant. Dan, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
See you.